Hello and welcome to Sports Intellect Podcast. And today we are going to be looking at yesterday's match that was between the Kolkata Knight Riders and the Punjab Kings, and also today at the double header that is going to happen as well. I have with me Abel and Sanjeet. Welcome to the two of you, and let me just begin straight away by asking you the question. What is your best takeaway from yesterday's match? Kolkata Knight Riders won in a classical fashion when Russell just muscled the ballers out of the park. Abel, I'll start with you. Abel, what is your takeaway from yesterday's match? Do you think KKR are now starting to look like a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, they definitely did impress everybody in the first game itself when they came up against Chennai Super Kings, where they actually balled Chennai Super Kings team. And from there, even in the RCB game, it was a very close game. Though they just got out of 128, they made a game out of it, and they took RCB to the last over, and that just shows the captaincy from Shreyas Iyer has been top notch, and they've made use of the resources pretty well. That's one of the huge tick mark for them as a team because if you look at Umesh Yadav, the way they've made use of him just to give him the new ball and to make sure that they ball him out pretty well. So that's one of the greatest advantages of this team. So far it's been all tech marks for KKR. Now talking about the batting, I see minor chunks in the batting, especially up there in the top order because they have not really performed as you expect them to do. Especially up there, Shreyas Iyer that not give them the start like he's known to do because he's a player in form. He's done terrifically well for India in T20 eyes and also in Test match in the recent past. So he has not really played the Shreyas Iyer's knock he's known to play, and also Ajinkya Rahane hasn't really converted the scores, but he has given them the stars, minor stars like clearing the fence or giving those early boundaries and taking the pressure off. And Venkatesh Iyer hasn't come into the fore, so that's the only issue for KKR so far. And Russell coming into form is a huge bonus and huge advantage for them. So far they've done well, 3 games, 2 wins. Great start of the IPL. Great start for the captaincy for Shreyas Iyer as well. Because this was the biggest test for Shreyas Iyer as a captain because he has moved away from Delhi Capitals and come to a new franchise, a new team, new setup altogether. And so far, it's been good.
All right. Abel, sorry, Sanjeet, moving on to you. Where do you think Punjab Kings failed in yesterday's match? Do you think there was a clear miscommunication early on in the power play and they couldn't recover from it? Or do you think this is just one-off game and you might see them come back in the next?
I feel Punjab has always been a team that always has this one-off game, but again and again. So as far as the last year goes, KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal were doing 70% of the job for them, and they still weren't getting the results, the way they should have been getting. Mayank Agarwal hasn't fired in the last couple of games, so I'm sure he'll come good. So it will improve. In fact, I'm mighty impressed though by Shah Rukh Khan, to be honest. I've never been a Shah Rukh Khan fan. Okay, as far as you know, but the last couple of games, I think he's shown good intent. He's hitting the ball well, so I can see him come good. But Punjab as a team, I don't know, they haven't quite impressed me as such. But I don't know, something inside deep within tells me that they will be coming good going ahead because a couple of the marquee players haven't performed the way they are to be performing, but they are big players, so they're allowed to have a couple of off games, and it's also pretty concrete that they will come back hard. I'm expecting a couple of good knocks from Dhawan. He has this knack of performing well every time he's been written off. So I expect that. I expect big scores from Dhawan. I expect those gutsy starts from Mayank Agarwal. Last time he had Lokesh Rahul with him, so it was much easier. This time he does not have that, so it'll be a challenge for him to go ahead. I just have to take a second and talk about Shreyas Iyer. I feel Shreyas Iyer brings that intent at the position he bats in the KKR team, and I've always been a Shreyas Iyer fan. And in fact, it hurt me a lot when Delhi let him go. But I mean, of course, yesterday was all about Russell. But I feel even though 15 ball 26 runs that Shreyas Iyer gives, I feel that is very important as far as KKR are concerned. They did not have that last time around, and so yeah. In fact, I see KKR doing well this year.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. I think I'll agree to the point that KKR is looking really good. They have checked most of the boxes. Let me start with one of the boxes that they've been ticking time and time again, and that's a very important aspect of the play that is power play. Umesh Yadav's been spectacular. I think combined with the new ball prowess of Saudi, they are looking really well in the power play. I think I'll go to you, Abel. What do you think is this rejuvenated Umesh Yadav coming up in the IPL? You know, we've had some. He's done this before. It's not like it's a surprise to all of us. But
Yeah.
now there seems to be a consistency in the way he's bowling in the power play. And how big of a role is that for Kolkata Knight Riders?
Of course, if you have to talk about Umesh Yadav, the bowler, he's definitely a proven bowler. There's no doubt about it. He's proven his mettle in international cricket as well. But then it was about how he's been managed. If you look at RCB in 2018, he did a decent job. He picked up 20 odd wickets in that season, and he was picking wickets consistently for RCB. But then one mistake what RCB did that year was give him the death overs as well. That's where the imbalance was created. That's where his figures seemed much more mediocre than it should have actually looked. So he used to pick up 3 wickets or 2 wickets for 10 runs, 15 runs, and he used to give up 25 runs in the death over. So one thing you should be very, you should come in terms with Umesh Yadav is that he's not a death over bowler, and that's the case with almost all the main bowlers. Like Mohammad Shami also is of the same grade. I don't think Mohammad Shami is a death over bowler. Maybe on a good day he can possibly land on the right areas in the death, but on another day he possibly will go for runs. Same thing with Umesh Yadav. Umesh Yadav is of the same category as a Deepak Chair. And I'm very happy that Umesh Yadav is used in that way as well by Shreyas Iyer. Up top, give 3 overs, then possibly bring him in the 15th or 13th over and finish his spell off. And he has given them the wickets what they wanted as well. He's bowling those attacking lines, pitching the ball in the right areas, just outside off them and taking the ball away. And he's bowling with pace. That's one of the important things. When you swing the ball, if you have pace, even the best of batsmen around the world will struggle. And Mumbai pitches, it's early on in the tournament, and it's going to offer you a lot more swing because, especially the coastal side towns like Wankhede and Brabant, with the
Exactly.
higher tide and lower tide, the ball will nip around quite a bit as well. And if you talk about Pune as well, it's one of those fresh wickets and the high altitude. So there also he might get a lot more swing and seam on offer, as you saw from Prasidh and also from Bold in the last game. So Umesh will enjoy bowling, especially earlier on the season. I'll be very keenly watching him towards the end of the season. How will he be able to bowl in those conditions, and how will Umesh Yadav ball on a day where there's excess amount of dew and where he'll have to defend, where he'll have to be defending a higher total. He's not been put under pressure so far, and batsmen haven't gone up against him. Batsmen have tried to play him in a tentative manner. That's one of the things which I found out as well. They've looked to give him respect, but on a day where batsmen look to go after him, how will he waver in his lengths? We've seen that before the 2020 season, 2019 season as well, where batsmen look to go after him, he wavered in his length, and that's where Umesh Yadav, the white baller, comes into question because the only reason why Umesh Yadav is not in the Indian white ball setup is because his line is erratic when batsmen try to go up against him. But this time around, it seems to be balling in the right areas. But if batsmen go up against him and try to take him on, will he waver in his leg? That's the biggest question that only time will tell us.
That's the biggest concern I see for KKR on my end too.
Yeah,
Saudi is known to bowl well up front, but then leak runs. Umesh
right.
Yadav is known to bowl well up front, then leak runs. Andrew
Yeah.
Russell has an injury every now and then around the corner, but
I
he
mean, the
isn't
same thing
the
with Patrick Cummins as well.
bowler
So
either.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was going to be my next question to you, Sanjeev. What happens when Patrick Cummins comes in? You can't obviously bench Saudi. He's done incredibly well. He's been bowling those balls. Yesterday he got Shikhar Dhawan out in probably a very good time for KKR, and it turned out to be the moment when the house of cards started falling down for Punjab Kings. So now, do you remove Saudi and put Cummins in, or do you look at a three-seamer attack then?
So I'm a little old-fashioned when it comes to that. And now, for example, speaking about my own team, Mumbai Indians that I support, Rohit Sharma
right,
always went in with three bowlers and a Hardik Pandya,
right,
right? Irrespective. Okay, but then again, Mumbai Indians batting from 1 to 5, that was a different beast. 1 to 7, in fact, which
yeah,
is not the same with KKR. But KKR has that potential. I feel somewhere Sam Billings will not get a chance again this year. Maybe yesterday was the one of that. I think Sheldon Jackson will come back in. I think Saudi and Cummins could both play. I think they should. But then I just feel then somewhere there will be like, how do I say this? Cummins is a better option even with the bat. He's always provided something or the other. Okay.
right.
Cummins is very accurate with his lens, but I somewhere feel Cummins in the last couple of years hasn't been as effective up front. And I feel KKR have capitalized on their bowlers, getting them breakthroughs and troubling the batsman up front. So they would not want to change that. So what I feel KKR will do is they will try and accommodate Saudi and Cummins both, and I don't see why they shouldn't either. So I really don't know. That's a conundrum as far as I'm considered too. But if I was in Shreyas Iyer's boots, I would have tried and accommodated both of them. Yeah, though
That's
what I'm trying to say is I would bring in a bowler and I would maybe for an all-rounder or a batsman. I think maybe that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I mean that's an interesting point. Another aspect of yesterday's match that struck me as was the fact that obviously we saw Andhra Russell doing Andhra Russell things, and there been a lot of question about him. But he's probably silenced a lot of the critics yesterday, and they only played him as a batter who can ball a bit. But my question is much more related to Punjab Kings, and they had Rabada yesterday, and everyone is excited about Rabada coming in, but do you think Punjab Kings missed a trick by not bringing Rabada in too early to face someone like an Andre Russell, seeing that he's done good against Andre Russell in the previous occasion? He's got him out before. And Russell has had issue with express pace, balling those Yorkers or short balls. Good you able. What is your take on that?
Very interesting point. I think one of the reasons why they didn't bring him is just looking at his record against Andrew Russell. He has gone for 224 runs. Russell has struck him for 224 at a striker of 224. In 27 balls he's balled to Russell, he has struck him for 62 runs. And only thing what we remember is a super over where he got him out. Or other occasions, Russell has absolutely taken Rabada apart. Possibly that's one of the reasons. But then when they were four down and when they actually needed a wicket, this game should have been closed up by 11 overs. This game would have never gone to 20 overs. The moment this game goes to 20 overs, it was always a KKR's game. So that's where I thought captaincy by Mayank should have been better. And otherwise, it is one of those games, when you play such template of cricket, you can expect these kind of results as well. Punjab shouldn't be much worried about this because their intent is great. The kind of cricket they're trying to play is great. And one of the days this can happen. And that's something which they should be able to take it. Next match, if they change this approach, it's going to completely fall apart. So they should come in terms by saying that, okay, we are going to play such brand of cricket and thereby we will be expecting such results as well. One of those days, this will happen. But then still they score 138. If not for the run out in the last over, the possibility they could have scored a 150, 160, and game would have been slightly different as well. So that's what it is. You should take it. This is a long tournament. It's just two games up. They've already won against RCB, chasing down 205. So there are a lot of positives about that team. Now you'll have a Johnny Bairstow who's going to come in as well. So that's going to be a conundrum as to whether he'll come in for Bhanuka Rajapaksha or Liam Livingston, because Bhanuka Rajapaksha has been hitting the ball extremely well. He's been scoring really well. But on the other side, Liam Livingston, he offers a little bit with the ball, but in terms of batting, is not done well. So a lot of conundrums for Punjab, but then at the same time, they should just continue playing this cricket.
That's an interesting point. So I think my suggestion for that would be, I feel a little off. I mean, when it comes to Odean Smith, now that's another question that I'm going to ask here. What do you rate of Odean Smith as a player? Do you think the role that Punjab is giving him as a second seamer maybe is working out well for them? I'll start with you.
Uh, as far as I'm considered, I feel Oren Smith is he's still bursting onto the scenes, all right, and I feel he's at a position where he can be molded into being what the team wants him to be. But I feel he is the kind of player that Punjab would need. All right. As far as second seam is concerned, I feel no. Maybe he could be the third seaming option, definitely. But yeah, there is some kind of bowling backup that is required as far as Odin Smith is concerned. Also, I was just reading an article the other day. A lot said now Odin Smith isn't that lanky kind of bowler. Also, there might be issues every now and then. The days he goes for runs, he always looks a little diffident coming in again for the balls. So no, not second seamer, not as far as I'm considered. But I just feel somewhere he can be made into that if at all the management wants him to, and they look at him as a. I was just thinking the other day that maybe in a couple of years, like there will be no Pollard, no Bravo, no. So the Calypso Kings that have defined a lot of the IPL will not be there anymore. But these are the next lot, right?
Right.
And people like Pollard are players that have played for 12, 13 years when they were 21, 22, and the teams have made them what they want him to be. Similar with maybe Russell and even Chris Gales. So this is the time if they feel that he can be their second seamer, they're willing to put in a year or 2 years in him. I think he has the quality, he has the control. All right, he has that kind of body strength to give in that kind of pace also. So it is possible. As far as this season is considered, though, I feel no, not really.
All right. I think that will be all of our discussion for yesterday's match. From here now, for the fans, Kolkata Knight Riders going to face Mumbai Indians next, and Punjab Kings have a tie-up with Gujarat Titans. But our focus now for today is going to be the double header. And first up is a matchup where which has a vested interest with Sanjeet, and I'll just start with
Yes.
Sanjeet straight away. It's natural to go to Mumbai Indians fans. Sanjeet, bad start, for Mumbai Indians. I wouldn't say a bad start, as in they would be completely disappointed. I
Yeah,
think
you
just
may history tend to repeat itself. Yes, sir.
so yeah, I mean, it's probably one of those days where the unpredictability of sport takes over, and two people and their brilliance just takes the match away from you. But what
I
do you think
woke
of
up
the
in the
tie-up
morning.
today with Rajasthan Royals?
Jared, I woke up in the morning. I didn't even get up to see what time it was. I've checked if Surya Kumar Yadav is fit or not fit. Is he
And
fit? Is he not fit?
he's not, unfortunately. He's not
He is.
playing
He,
today.
he is. He is. He's
No,
fit.
he's
He's
not.
playing today.
No, he's not
Really?
playing. The Mumbai's won the toss and he misses out
Yeah.
again.
He
Oh, I
misses
think
a. Oh my god!
probably
My
what
news sources.
probably what happened
Something.
here is I think Sanjit he might be he might they might be a bit iffy about his fitness, and I think
Yes.
it's a long tournament, so they don't want to risk him probably.
And
So I
now
think
he's an
make
Indian
sure sort it out.
contracted player as well. So, and yeah, the
Yeah.
Indian captain is the captain of Mumbai Indians. So there are a lot of things revolving around that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
a lot of superstition coming as far as that statement is considered. But yeah, anyways, so today I feel, I mean, I don't know, Mumbai's never been the greatest of performers as far as RR is considered. Like,
Also, it's the start of the season, so Mumbai has not had a
it's the
good.
start of the season. Rajasthan Royals looks very settled. I think we spoke about this during the auction as well. That they're, as far as I am considered, they are among the top three teams as far as the playing 11 is considered.
yeah,
Mumbai Indians ball one bowler is one of will be bowling now to the Mumbai Indian batsman Trent Bolt is not there anymore. This was for me one of the most awaited clashes of this year. Mumbai Indians and Rajasthan Royals, plainly because it is my team and a team that I feel will be dangerous as far as all the other teams are considered.
yeah,
I'm actually very I was like, how do I say this? I can't wait for Rohit Sharma to play like Rohit Sharma for once. Just go in and start smacking the ball right round. Ishan Kishan
yeah,
came good last game, so I'm happy about that. As far as Ishan Kishan is considered, I mean, I just have a feeling that today is probably maybe we lose a couple of wickets here and there because we know how we play to left arm quicks. But then somewhere I feel today could be where maybe a Pollard comes good or something of that sort. That kind of wicket also should not. I mean, it is. I don't know. It's a lot of emotions going through my mind. We thought we were going to be winning the last game also with them 5 wickets down before reaching 100, and then they hit us with 10 balls to spare. A lot of emotions going through me as far as I'm considered, and I thought Surya Kumar is playing today. And after you say no, the goal goes to a lot of restructuring in my mind.
right.
So I think I'll start with you, April, again about Rajasthan Royals. Here, they've done really well.
Right.
They're the only team in the IPL, if I'm not wrong, which has defended a target, and
Mm,
Yeah,
they were absolutely on top in the previous game.
mm,
It did not seem like there was a chink in the armor. They batted
right.
really well. Even Dev the Particle, where probably there was some question about him coming in number four. That worked out well. It was like everything that Sanju Samson and his team touched turned into gold. And do you think that Midas touch will come into play today in Mumbai when they face Mumbai?
Yeah, they have lost the toss again, and they're going to be batting first. Excuse me. So in that terms, they have already an experience of defending a total, and you will not come into play in an afternoon game. So that's also a huge benefit for them. So talking about that, so it'll be. I think afternoon games are 50-50. You don't certainly have that kind of an advantage like a night game. And them batting first, putting a total like 205, and yet again they're going to be batting first today and they're playing with the same 11. So I'm expecting them to play the same brand of cricket which they played against SRH. But if the luck is on their side too, because against SRH, there were a lot of opportunities with SRH Smith. That's one of the reasons why they were able to win that match and they were able to defend that total as well. But against the Mumbai Indians, you have to be top of the game. And Butler against Mumbai Indians averages 75. He loves this team. He's got a terrific record against his team. And also Sanju Samson batting at number three, averages close to 38 as well. So it's good news for them. If Sanju Samson continues to bat at three, it makes this team look much better. And if Devdutt Padikkal is doing the way like he's doing at number four, all of a sudden this team looks really good. But if Devdutt Padikkal fails at number four, then this team will have different questions. But so far, after the first match, it's all happy for them and all happy news for them. But today, It'll be another challenge. They're going to be up against Bumrah, Timor Mills, and Daniel Sams. But that's where I feel, Mumbai Indians will be slightly missing someone like an experienced base like a Jofra Archer or like a Trent Bolt. You cannot replace a Trent Bolt with someone like a Timor Mills. Timor Mills can be a third seamer, but on a good wicket where it's flat, his slower ones doesn't come into play. But on a wicket which sticks in, his back of the hand will come into play. And that's where Trent Bolt was much more adaptive, much more versatile. He could swing the ball up front. He had the slower ones, and he could also finish it up in the depth alongside Bumrah. And Basil Thampi, I was impressed by him, especially the kind of lines he bowled. He was a little unlucky, I would say, because he possibly could have gotten the wicket of Lalit Yadav, if I'm not wrong, in the last game, and the match could have possibly turned its head around there. But he's someone who Mumbai Indians can trust upon as well because he's got some really good Yorkers. I'm impressed to see Tilak Verma as well in terms of Mumbai Indians, and I'm very keen to see how they operate today.
And as my next question to Sanjit is this: stemming from the fact that Trent Bolt is coming back, one of the beloved bowlers of last season for you guys, but now he's going to be facing Rohit Sharma, and we all know Rohit Sharma has this issue with the left arm fast bowler swinging into him, and we had that interesting net session as well, where Trent Bolt's remarked on the same thing. Now, do you think Trent Bolt gets a chance to hit Rohit Sharma on his back leg once again? Or do you think this is finally the day when Rohit Sharma gets back and takes revenge? Maybe
as far as as far as I'm considered, look, there is always a chance, but I feel every time Rohit Sharma goes on for something flashy, a nice drive, that is when he tends to lose his he tends to get LBW. All right, he's either trying to push the ball away, get off the mark. You can see the restlessness within him. This always happens in the Indian team. The couple of times it doesn't happen is when he doesn't have that kind of backup behind him. So that's with Virat Kohli in the Indian team, and it is Mumbai Indians made it Surya Kumar Yadav. And if that does not exist, so it is like there is Anmol Preet Singh and those kind of players. I feel he'll take his time. I want to see how much the ball is swinging. If it's a little, I think I'm not very sure. I just feel today there won't be a problem. He'll play much more warily. I think it should be okay today.
All right. To you, Abel, my question is, you know how we've seen throughout this tournament that the new ball has done a lot of the talking, and teams who have done well in matches have had the new ballers do well, and we've seen Prasidh Krishna and Trent Bolt are a mighty good new ball pair. But coming to Rajasthan Royals, if in case Bumrah runs through their lineup, they only have six proper batsmen. Do you think that is probably an issue that is hiding within this Rajasthan lineup that looks near perfect? Abel, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Yeah, you're right. I know this tournament has all been about the new ball wickets, and for someone like Bumrah, last game was such a bad day, and you expect such kind of games coming up from a player of his quality as well. You cannot do anything about such games, so that's where I feel someone like Bumrah needs support as well. So far he hasn't had the support like he would have liked to have, and possibly if you talk about this game especially. If Bumrah can get the start for Mumbai Indians, they will be on top, and it's going to be a fresh wicket in DY Patil as well. So DY Patil has helped the fast bowlers previously. Even if you look at the last game where KKR took on RCB, the pitch did offer quite a bit of pace and bounce to the paces, and Bumrah will certainly enjoy bowling in this wicket. So Brabon was shorter ground, and even mishits could go for a sixer, but DY Patil is slightly bigger compared to Brabon. And that's where he would like to enjoy bowling. And even looking at the past records in this ground as well, fast bowlers have generally done well. So it's going to be important for the new ball, for Rohit Sharma to use Bumrah well. In the last game, I felt he didn't use Bumrah the right way because if you don't have Bolt, then you should be using Bumrah up front, and Bumrah should be given that responsibility. Probably ball 3 overs, it's fine. Matches you are saving 2 overs in the end for him, that doesn't work. You should not have a set template when you don't have a ball like Bolt or a Jofra Archer to support him so far. So in that case or in that scenario, you might have to use Bumrah slightly differently. That's why Rohit Sharma needs to be proactive today. And a captain like Rohit Sharma will be, and he will definitely learn from the mistakes. And that's why he's such a proven customer. That's why he's won 5 IPL titles. And a team with Mumbai, a team like Mumbai, the only hole in their possibly bowling lineup is their third seamer. Basil Thampi and Daniel Sams, they both will have to come good. If they both leak runs, all of a sudden Mumbai does not look good because they don't have a second spinner to rely upon as well. They're not playing a Sanjay Yadav. They're relying totally on Murugan Ashwin. And if you look at Rajasthan Royals, certainly they love to play leg spin pretty well. And someone like Sanju Samson will be looking to target Murugan Ashwin. And with the kind of template they are playing as well, Yashasvi Jaiswal, they have left-handers in their lineup, like someone like Hetmeyer, gave that particular Yashasvi Jaiswal. So how good will this leg spinner come against a team like Rajasthan Royals? So that's also going to be a question. So this is going to be Mumbai's major challenge. They can probably assess themselves after this game, however the result is. If they win, it's all good. If they lose, then they will have certain questions because they do not have Surya Kumar Yadav as well for this game. So two losses, never an easy start, but that Mumbai are used to these kind of starts as well. So they would not be shackled at all. But then from here on, how they come up is going to be so important for them. If Basil Thambi comes good alongside Daniel Sams, all of a sudden they have a very settled lineup, and also they would want Tim David to come good as well.
True. So that'll be, I mean, pretty much, I think, our discussions related
I'll
to the
just, I'll
first.
just, I'll just
Yeah.
put forward this question. Like, as far as Abel said that Rohit Sharma, he expects Rohit Sharma to learn from his mistakes, all right? And he said there is no bolt or whatever. I feel Rohit Sharma has always been the kind of person who wants to shift momentum on his side at the end of an innings, and that is why I almost never think that he will ever, get Bumrah to play up front, or maybe an over in the power play, and over in the middle, and two in the end. I feel that will always happen. So do you so what do you think? Like should there be a change in strategy? Because I don't think that will happen.
I mean,
So
there should be, considering this reason, Sanjeev, because right now your Bumrah has picked wickets for India up front as well. You're looking at Bumrah's level. A ball
absolutely,
like Bumrah should be used up front because you don't have Bolt and Timol Mills cannot swing the ball. Neither can Basil
exactly,
Thampi or Daniel Sams. They all are hit their deck ballers. So there you would want
correct.
those two wickets. Usually Mumbai has done well when they pick those early wickets. Mumbai in power play was one of the deadliest teams to face because they had Bumrah and Bolt bowling in tandem, and Bolt
No,
used to
no.
pick
I'm
up.
asking, do you think will Rohit Sharma do it?
He should. That's the reason I'm coming up to because of this reason, Bumrah should be used two at least in the power play, or maybe even three. If two in the power play, one in the middle, and one in the end, it still is justified. But one in the power play cannot be justified with Bumrah, and that is not something which will set him up as well. If on a good day, if he's on a roll, give him three or give him even four. Win the match up front. That's one of the mistakes which even we spoke about Rabada as well. But Rabada should have been used on such days. You would want someone like Bumrah to be on a roll and just do his spell. And Bumrah only gets better the more he balls. We have seen him in Test cricket. I've already even
That's
when he
hundred
comes for
percent.
spin
I
over,
agree.
he's even stronger. When he's even better.
Somewhere I see that if at all Mumbai, if Rohit Sharma can get Butler's wicket in Bumrah's
True.
over or before Bumrah
Yeah.
bowls his first over, I feel that only then I feel will Bumrah come back for
Yeah.
his second or his third. If
Possibly.
that doesn't happen, then Bumrah will be put back again.
I see if Sanju Samson is coming to bat, I'll see Rohit Sharma use him to target with a bouncer because I've seen Rohit Sharma
100%.
target Sanju Samson using Bolt, trying to hook him or something. So he'll use the same tactic but by using Bumrah because Bumrah's bounce is even more fearsome. It comes directly at you and it's tough for someone like Sanju Samson to hook or pull because he has his troubles with short ball
I
time
mean,
and
I
time
think
again.
the point from Abel, I think, yeah, true. So, I mean, it's happened to Sanjay Samson time and time again, especially the last previous season, when he did not do well. The hard length was what was getting him to, maybe, get soft dismissals where he would just push the ball up towards a mid on or a mid wicket and inside the circle and get out. But that's probably where I think Rajasthan will depend very heavily on their top three.
Right.
And, that's what probably the template is going to be. But I
Very
think one
interesting
final
because
note
Rajasthan is
on.
going to go in with three foreigners and they played Navdeep Saini instead of Nathan Coulter.
Yeah,
And Navdeep Saini against Mumbai has had a very bad record except for that one super over which he bowled against them. And Pollard
yeah.
has taken him apart more often than not. Even Ishan
I
Kishan.
mean, this is a forced change, if I'm not wrong.
The force change, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think last one final note on Yashasvi Jaiswal. How do you think he's going to shape up as the opener for Rajasthan? He looked good in the previous game, even though he couldn't continue the job.
I've been big on technicalities. So I feel if a batsman is technically very sound, then it doesn't matter if he scores 115 or 15. He will look good. So I feel that's not a problem. This is his home ground. He's played here all his life. DY Patil and Brabon is where cricketers play. Contrary to what people think that Wankhede is where they play, that's almost never the case. Brabon and DY Patil are the baby stadiums for everyone. So he's played a lot of cricket here. So I'm actually looking forward because Jaiswal has never come off as the person who would like to go like bang 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 as the other young cricketers would do. He
Right.
he doesn't mind taking a while. You give him a bad ball, he will try to go for it. and such kind of batting is rewarded. May it be Brabon or Divya Patil. You take your time, you look at the ball, and you get value for your shots. He plays like that. I feel, and today with Mumbai Indians bowling, I feel if Bumrah cannot get Yashish Jaiswal initially, and Jaiswal always, I mean, I think he'll have more confidence if he has someone like a Butler by his side, because or else
Yeah.
he's going to play under continuous pressure of not being able to score at that rate. So if Butler or even if Samson for that matter can score at a higher than normal strike rate, and I think Jaswal will put in the runs today. He should. I'm hoping he does. I like to watch him play.
All right, thank you. I mean, this will be our discussion for this match. Obviously, the evening match that we have, the second of the double header, Gujarat Titans versus Delhi Capitals, and both of them are coming off a very unlikely win. And we had that amazing double header the previous time where both of them pulled off something which is near miracle. I'll start with you, Abel. Let's start with Gujarat Titans. You know, there's a
Yeah.
newbie captain, and I know as I'm saying this, Sanjit is probably reminiscing about what Hardik Pandya can do as a finisher for them in Mumbai Indians, but now a new role. That's what we saw Hardik Pandya play last time around. And do you think he's going to continue that?
Imagine how many problems Hardik Pandya solves if he was there in today's team itself.
Yeah.
Exactly, true. And those are the exact point of problem that he's solving for Gujarat Titans, But we saw him play in an interesting role a previous amount of time. He came down at probably the fastest we've seen him come, the
Yeah.
earliest we've seen him come. And do you think now this is a role that I felt was equal to what Dhoni used to play for CSK, in the
Right.
early years where he would come in either when CSK were in a bit of trouble and
Right.
anchor the innings. That's what he tried to do last time around, and he did it well as well. Or he
Right.
would come in when CSK needed that late burst at the last 5 overs or so. Abel, what's your take on that?
See, about Hardik Pandya, he is a terrific cricketer. There's no doubt about it. The moment Hardik Pandya starts bowling, he adds 10x value to a team he plays. Let it be India, let it be Gujarat Titans, let it be Mumbai Indians. One of the reasons why Mumbai Indians failed last season was because Hardik Pandya did not bowl. The balance was spoiled the moment Hardik Pandya does not bowl, and that's where I feel someone like Hardik Pandya could add a lot more value than what it is expected of him when he balls. And I believe someone of his stage or someone of his ability should be given that freedom and some that kind of freedom to go out there and express himself. And he's done decently well. In the last match, he clocked 140 kilometers per hour quite often, and that's a huge news for Indian cricket fans also, because an informed Hardik Pandya is one of the best in the world in terms of power hitting, just on power hitting, because you have seen him win matches and he's an X factor player. People can come at him saying that, yeah, he's whatever, he's unfit, he's this, he's that. But if a player is unfit, he's bad. Any player, let it be any player. But Hardik Pandya, what he adds value is which no other player in India could possibly. You go find one fast bowling all rounder who can possibly strike at 160 and also pick you up wickets and give you 4 overs bowling at 135 plus. Nobody. Literally nobody in the country. So that's where Hardik Pandya comes in, and that's why he has been preferred by Indian team time and time again. That's why he was given the long rope as well. And for Gujarat Titans, he's playing an interesting role, as you rightly mentioned. Him batting at number 4 look makes that Gujarat batting lineup look even more deeper, and that's why Miller can come at number 5, Tewati at number 6, or however way it can be. And I'm quite impressed by this Gujarat Titans team as well, because they've used the ballers to the optimum levels. Because someone like Mohammad Shami bowling up front, again, same argument of Umesh Yadav as well. And Hardik Pandya has rotated his ballers pretty well. Same with Rashid Khan and also with Lockie. So this team looks very dangerous. This is one team which we absolutely wrote off in our reviews after the auction. But then Hardik Pandya is doing a good job as a captain. I'm happy about that. And I'm quite excited to see these underdogs actually shape up and perform the way they would actually do in the tournament.
I'll just say this. As much as I love Hardik Pandya from the bottom of my heart, I still just haven't written him on yet. He's a new captain, and I know, and as a spectator, I don't know how he works or how he thinks. As far as last match is concerned, I feel that game was 50% Mohammad Shami.
Yeah.
So if he does not come good, what happens? One. Secondly, as I mean, like Abel said, Pandey at 4 makes the Gujarat team look, the batting look deeper. But somebody, from the other team, like we're talking about Rahul Tewatia, David Miller. So of course, I'm again not the biggest Rahul Tewatia fan. I still feel that season was
Yeah.
just made for him. He did
No,
well.
he's only played three knocks in IPL, and you have
Yeah.
to give credit. If you
Okay.
only play
So
three
what
knocks
are
in
the
two
headlines?
years, then
David
definitely
Miller
not.
is probably one or two matches a tournament to kind of person.
Yeah.
All right. They lost Jason Roy, which I feel is a big blow. All right. So I still do not consider Gujarat Titans as the IPL level par team. They're the only team that I have to say this to, which makes me feel very sad because one of my favorite players captains that team. But
But
from a
tell me,
completely
Sanjeev, I have an interesting question. A team which is Loki, Shami, and Rashid, don't you think they're a seriously potent bowling lineup? They could be like one of those Sunrisers in 2018. They not have the best of batting lineups, but then
totally,
in bowling,
totally.
take the team all, get the team all for 150, 160, chase it down with the batting lineup or the batting resources you have. And now possibly now if Shubman Gill also comes good, this team can be a decent team actually and give challenge to many
They
of the
can.
top.
As far as potential is concerned and as far as ability to perform is concerned, these guys are people who have performed since the beginning. That is why they play the IPL, or that's why they've been bought.
Right, right.
But again, now the problem comes now. Say for example, these guys come up against say Mumbai Indians pick up form and they come up against them, or Rajasthan Royals pick up form and they come up against them.
Yeah,
I feel the Lockie Ferguson factor can be nullified. That the Rashid Khan factor can also, I won't say nullified, but Rashid Khan hasn't been at the peak of his form in the last couple of months.
right.
So yeah, so I mean even that is not as big a threat. Mohammad Shami I feel is doing very well. My only question is if the bowlers do well, say maybe get Rajasthan Royals all out for 120, and but if Trent Bolt strikes or they do some and does some kind of mischief, takes 2 wickets in the first 2 overs, I feel
Yeah.
this team will have a serious problem chasing 120 also, which
Oh, yeah.
most other teams will not have, and it will happen in the tournament. It will happen at least a couple of times, and if that happens early enough, then it is very difficult to get back from it. And so if they are not strong on mental strength, I know maybe in Hardik Pandya is, but maybe if 11 of playing players aren't at that kind of mental level, then it's very tough to get back up.
Right.
And
And
that can
yeah,
happen today. That
that
can
was
happen
exactly
today.
what my next question was going to be. Now, Gujarat Titans obviously played against a depleted Lucknow team. And even today, Delhi are missing a lot of their stars, the stars that we put as sure starters in their lineup. But obviously, and just not looking at this match, but looking at the overall tournament, do you think Gujarat Titans can keep performing when everyone is at full strength? When Lucknow gets Soines back, Holder back, when they come back for the second tie, or even when this Delhi team gets their stars back. Obviously, Mumbai is probably still, I mean, obviously, Mumbai with Surya Kumar Yadav maybe then. And also, Sanjit is right about one factor that, I mean, I think I mean, a lot of Gujarat fans will probably brand us as haters by now. But do you think this team has what it takes against a full strength IPL team, which a lot of these teams are still, waiting for their players to come back?
They
It's
could be.
somewhere, I mean, I am not comparing in any way, but as far as I'm considered, it somewhere looks like that. I remember the Zimbabwe team 10 years ago, big Brendan Taylor fan. I'm a big Craig Irvin fan. But you have two players and three players. Everybody's good on potential, but you are not performing. And the days you perform well, you will have bigger players. For example, I remember the 285 chase Indian is Raina scored 100 and Dhoni scored 85 or 90. I mean, that was Zimbabwe's game, and I feel Gujarat Titans will have a lot of such games where it is their game, but players who have played more and have the ability to bounce back, have that kind of mental toughness, will come back and will bother this team. I feel Mumbai Indians from 40 runs for 5 wickets down will chase 150 in 10 overs because Karen Pollard has that kind of the experience, that belief in himself, which I do not see happening in Gujarat Titans. Also, Hardik Pandya has been amazing down the order throughout the IPL, but he has always had a bigger hitter coming after him. So he knows somewhere his failure can be backed up by somebody, probably the world's best or the top three ever to play at that position. He does not have that here. So if he succumbs under pressure, it's not the best thing for the captain to happen either. So that kind of the Dhoni level kind of mental fitness or the Rohit Sharma kind of belief is required, which I do not know if he has because it's just been one game.
Right.
All right, let's look at the Delhi
I mean,
Capitals
yeah,
team.
that's true. I mean, I'll just
Yeah,
add
all
to
right.
that as well because I think this team reminds me of Rajasthan of 2008 just for some reason. Just
Agree.
gives that vibe because they were also one of the underdogs. They were led by one player who is no more with us in the world now. And that team also gave a similar vibe, right? They had these players who used to do bits and pieces, and they used to make them, they used to make optimal use of the resources. And that's why someone like Gary Gerson will be so important for this team, because he has seen it, he has been in thick of things. He has been with some of the champion teams, and he will know better than anybody else as to how he should be carrying on Hardik Pandya, someone like Ashish Nahare as well, who's part of the setup. So it's going to be very interesting season for Gujarat Titans. And if they end up in top four, it's a huge achievement. I don't expect them to go all the way, but if they do, nothing like that. We have to eat our own words, I would say, at the end of the IPL.
And yeah, I
I
mean,
will
I
stop.
think
I will stop speaking cricket if Gujarat Titans goes on to win, because the amount I have criticized them,
Yeah,
it'll take all credibility away from me. Just one thing, you spoke about the management, the staff. I don't know how I missed it. There's just one thing I know, that with their captain, with their management, I know this team will not be put under constant pressure of winning, or their failures will not be punched out again and again. So, and being in a good space helps a lot. Like for example, if Mumbai Indians is concerned, I've heard a lot of players speak, or it is that there is a requirement for the team to win, and it may be Jayawardene, it may be the owners, they are heavily involved too. So there is that pressure of winning because they have won earlier, and there is certain kind of image associated. So they have that. If Gujarat doesn't have that, and someone like a Nehra or a Gerson who usually keep things light, and they're not big on team meetings and a lot of technicalities and pushing the players too much, and the captain's also a very chill kind of person, I think they could do well.
yeah,
That could happen. I mean, if they have just have to play cricket freely, I feel
yeah,
Shubman Gill one of the best person going around, hitting the
yeah,
ball. Hardik Pandya also, no question. Mohammad
yeah.
Shami is doing very well. I just believe that if they're in a good headspace, they might just surprise all of us.
Yeah, that's good. I'm very keen on this team because of the management and because of the captain. Because if they both, if they are on the same page, and if they all put their philosophy up there, these players are going to play really well. And we already saw signs of it in the last game, but there are
Yeah.
also major chances, especially when it comes to the batting. And I would love to see Rahmanullah Gurbaz instead of Matthew Wade. I'm making it very clear again.
I'll be
yeah, I mean,
happy if Gujarat Titans surprises us. I'll be happy if even maybe a Matthew Wade comes good, because for some reason I like to watch teams that most people write off to come up and do something special, but not
Right.
once.
Leandro,
I want to see them. I do not want to see them defeat Mumbai Indians. I want to see them defeat them by 60 runs. I want that to happen, right? So
all
I want them
right.
to make some kind of statement that, or maybe a Chennai. So the other teams are very okay. Shit,
Not a
they
Chennai.
chased 190, okay, or they got them on in 95. I want that kind of game to come along. I feel if that comes along, there'll be immense amount of self belief, because somewhere they also know that they aren't the team on paper as other IPL franchises are. So one game of that sort, and they make a statement. I think it'll be fun. It'll make the IPL much more exciting.
Yeah.
And when IPL has been a tournament where the form and the confidence is what has taken teams towards the end, and we've not always had the best team on paper go through, and that's something that we've discussed even during the auction analysis as well. So Gujarat Titans, it's not like they don't have the players to win the IPL. It's just maybe the chances of it is lesser, because any team that plays this tournament has the chance, and that is the beauty of IPL. It's always been the beauty of IPL in the last 13 years. But let's look at Delhi Capitals, and I think one of the first people that come to my mind before before we wrap up definitely is Kuldeep Yadav. He's done well in against Mumbai. Probably a lot
Yeah.
of people wrote him off, and he's come in and he was probably the difference between Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians. He was the unsung hero of the Delhi Capitals bowling lineup. He took those early wickets when Ishan Kishan and Rohit Sharma just seemed to be running away with it.
Right. I mean, yeah, of course, Kuldeep Yadav. I'm so happy for that lad, because finally he's played a game like he's known to have played. Because since 2019, he has never come up to that level. He's never picked up 3 wickets in a game, or he's never played one of those games where he has kept his economy under the radar and at the same time picked wickets. And finally, he got a game. Though you could say some of the wickets were, my blind slogs, which just fell into the hands of the fielders. But then he bowled well. He bowled. One of the things which I liked about him was he was ready to vary his pace. One reason why Kuldeep Yadav was getting hit was he was only bowling in one pace, which was 80, 70, 75, and 82. You cannot expect these kind of pace in this modern generation. You need to have that pace varying ability where you can vary at one ball 190 Ks and come down to 80, and also vary with your lengths as well. That's one thing which Kuldeep Yadav did very well. He was consistent in landing in the right areas, but at the same time he was not wavered with his length, and also varying the pace in that length, in those lengths. So if you have those kind of abilities, you will naturally tend to do well as a bowler. And he ticked all those boxes in the last game. And a huge as we talk about Kuldeep Yadav being a captain's bowler, I would say that Kuldeep Yadav has been a keeper's bowler. Rishabh Pant did a great job by guiding him where to bowl. You can say in international cricket on a level like IPL, you cannot spoon feed a bowler. But then Kuldeep Yadav needs probably those kind of spoon feeding to probably make him play in that level. And Rishabh Pant was doing that beautifully, as setting guiding him. You land it over here, land it in these areas, probably you'll get more out of it, you could extract more turn. And that's the reason why you saw that kind of performance. And he gave credit to Rohit Sharma and also Rishabh Pant at the end of the day as well. So when you're on that kind of setup, you will do well. And I'm happy for the guy.
All right. One final thought on Lalit Yadav and Akshay Patel going ahead into today's game. Do you think they can do it more often? And if they are able to do that, do you think that makes Capitals look much stronger,
Did
given the fact that they're missing a lot of their stars that
they
Yeah,
probably
did
before
it
that,
against
I
us?
think
They better
if
keep
they
doing
do it
it.
more often, then their top order is a complete failure. I hope they don't do it more often.
Oh no,
I
no, no!
totally
I
understand.
absolutely disagree with that. They did it against us. They have to do it with all the 9 other teams. If that doesn't happen, I cannot have my friends telling me, "Oh my God, Akshar Patel smacked you out the first game." I will not have that. That has to happen more often. But it's
All
fun to see
right.
Akshar Patel. I'll be very honest. I like his batting. As far as a bowling all round is concerned, I mean, I like that kind of batting. He's doing well again and again. So I think we'll have a couple of maybe not 38 runs in 19 balls, but maybe 15, 20 now and then in 10 deliveries. I think possible.
Right.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will come back by tomorrow because we have a double header again tomorrow. And the match has already started. The first match, by the way, Rajasthan Royals are batting first. And let's hope the fans of
They
either
are one
sides
down
come
for
out happy.
they're one down for 30.
Hopefully, Sanjeev, you get your 2 points today. And thank you so much for joining us, both Abel and Sanjeev and everyone else. Thank you so much. Let's hope we come again tomorrow because this is a long tournament and there's going to be a lot of analysis from our side. Thank you, everyone, once again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good day.